Coach, you can start us off.
All right, so really happy for our university. You know, 5 years ago when we came here, and I thought about it this week, had been coming off of four non-winning seasons here, and Chancellor and Keith made a decision to bring us here, and a lot of really good things have happened, but there's not been a signature game like this, and been close, when Alabama was here and all that, so just really happy because I know we've been close with games, and for our fans, for them to be able to enjoy this, and that's a great Georgia team. Won outside Alabama and won 51 straight games against people, and since COVID, so just happy for our players too to play that way, and what ends up kind of being dominant, to win 3 scores. Is a lot of people doing a lot of things right. And this game started a year ago, when these guys beat us like that. And, we made a decision to go to the portal, got some guys to come back, not go to the draft, and for really a lot for this game. And a number of those guys said it this week. This is why they came here, was for this game to play Georgia. And so it's a long year and a lot of off-season film work and by the coaches to plan for this game. Didn't just start this week, so just really happy for a lot of people.
Okay, we'll take questions from the media here in front. Start with Tyler.
24-hour rule still apply even with the bye week?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it won't for them probably, but we got a lot of work to do. We put ourselves in position now, not just with beating Georgia, but beating them like that put ourselves in position to be in the playoffs. So I'm not worried about the rankings and all that. That'll work itself out. We got 2 more games to play and need to go win those 2 games to put us in that position. So I told them really 3 weeks ago when the LSU game, when we screwed up at the end and have control of the whole game down there and don't win, I said, okay, now you just basically put yourself in the playoffs. You're going to have to win every week. So that's been 4 games. So we've had to win every week, and I said it to them this week. The playoffs, to me, we're going to go through Georgia, if you're going to win it. And it's a different system now. 12 teams are going to make it. 11 are going to lose their last game. So you're going to have to play them at some point. So I told them you actually have home field advantage. You're in the playoffs with home field advantage for the first round or third round.
Lane, it looked pretty bad there for Jackson early with that injury. What can you say about just his toughness and ability to grind through that game?
Yeah, I told him, when losses happen in life, and I had a major one this summer, and you don't know why things happen. You can't figure them out at the time. And, maybe those 2 losses, the way we screwed those games up, there was a reason so that they would go through things. They'd have adversity today, which there was major adversity. We'd throw a pick, we get them to 4th down, they score a touchdown. It looks like our quarterback's out, so that's not a real good start to get the ball first and 2 possessions in, be down 7-0 to Georgia without your quarterback. So really glad how they handled that adversity. Gave up 3 points the rest of the day, and Austin Simmons did a great job coming in, and like we told him, hey, we're going to run the game plan. We're going to throw with you. We're not going to be one of these backup quarterbacks where we just hand it off. And he did a great job. And I didn't know Jackson was going to come back in. And Jackson did some medical things and came back and said, I'm going in. So he went back in.
Brett?
Lane, 24 sacks over the last 3 games. You held Georgia to only 59 rushing yards. The defensive front has just been dominating for you the last couple of games.
Yeah, that didn't really happen when you put Georgia in that sentence very often. So that's a credit to Coach Golding and the staff, why we brought him here, for games like this. And he showed up. They showed up. To be at the end of the game and they're throwing screens to stay away from our rush, it's pretty cool. That's a lot of guys doing things right and showing up. And it was great, again, for the last couple weeks to have Princely back, who we didn't have in that LSU game.
Lane, I was wondering if you could elaborate on what you were saying a minute ago about when Jackson got hurt. What were you told by the doctors? And then when Austin came in, what were you thinking as that drive unfolded? Because obviously that was a huge momentum turn in the game.
Yeah, I don't I can't really discuss the doctor's conversations there, but it didn't look good to me, the way he limped off, the way he, we have the iPads now, so I can see him on the last throw, try to throw, try to move. So I kind of thought he was done. So I talked to Austin right away before we even went on defense, because what I saw, he looked really bad. He could barely get to the sideline. Said, Austin, get ready, go warm up, and we're going to run the same calls with you. And kind of shows our confidence in him. The first play to run a naked and come out, bootleg and let him throw on the first play against Georgia. Guy's done a great job in practice and showed up today.
Kind of on the flip side of one of those previous questions that were asked, I know the offensive line has been through a lot this year, and they only gave up 1 sack the entire game, and that was basically for 58 consecutive minutes, if you will, except for that first drive. But, just what can you say just about the job the offensive line did tonight, especially with the length that Georgia had up front?
Yeah, I think the offensive line has done a good job in the last few weeks in pass protection. So they had to do it today. I don't know if it was a secret watching, but, we kind of said it's going to be really tough to run the ball. And our starting running back was out, and we've struggled to run the ball, and they're really big and long. So we caught a lot of pass plays on purpose today and a lot of controlled passing to try to say, okay, that's going to be our extended run game, because those are tough matchups in there.
Do you feel like having to be in, you've said this to us and in other places, that y'all been in playoff mode these last 3 games, including tonight. Do you feel like that was an advantage for y'all to have to kind of be as focused and locked in?
Yeah, like I told them, sometimes things happen and you don't know why. And, that put our backs against the wall. And a lot of people, when your back's against the wall, fight a little different. And probably knowing that they got rid of that cushion, what you think about today, like had we won those today, we may come into this week in this game like, hey, it'd be good to beat Georgia, but we don't really have to because, we'll still be in the playoffs. So sometimes when you're back against the wall, you fight harder.
Lane, earlier you said teams don't beat Georgia like this. When you configured this roster, did you have these kinds of outcomes in mind with the talented group of guys that you have?
Yeah, I don't know that I would have pictured it without Trey Harris, the best receiver in the country today. But guys stepped up. Jackson made really good throws. Austin, Caden Lee's winning in man-to-man coverage against great cover people. So, yeah, I mean, this is, I can't say I pictured 3-score win, but this is why we put it all together to win this game. Yeah.
I know the game just finished and hasn't been that long, but just what are the emotions like for you right now, given everything that you've been through and this team has been through?
Yeah, I think I kind of get lost in the game sometimes, so I don't really get all that till later. Like poor Ka, yelling at him for the fans being on the field when there's still clock on. So I was still coaching. And so I don't know. Kind of had a moment when she asked me on camera, about the game, and I was good with all that. But when she said, how about your quarterback, Jackson, when he battled back from, and Jackson had just walked by and said, I love you, coach, in the last play. And he's just an awesome kid. And to get hurt like that, and I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, it'll be just like the Peach Bowl. It's the same injury, same type of feeling. I'll be able to do it. Just can't run perimeter very well, and I'll find a way. So it's a really cool group of kids, and he led this thing. I said it in the off season. He led getting these guys all together, and like a coach, So just really happy for him coming off of last week of shattering those records, and then today to just get a gritty performance like he did. It's really, really awesome to watch.
What did you see from the receiving group as a whole? It was more of a complete game from all the receivers. So what's your take on their day?
Again, they're playing without the best receiver in the country. And they did a great job. They made plays, significant plays. You got a 4th and 2 that gets converted where, again, that's kind of where we used to run. And in this game plan, we threw it. And they beat guys that are really good in man-to-man. And guys that are going to play in the NFL. So just really proud of them.
Go up top.
Coach, you mentioned this was a great atmosphere and it was a great win for the fan base. Just kind of talk about the atmosphere, what that meant to you guys, the fan base sticking out through the rain and everything like that, and just being behind you throughout the game. What did that mean to the team?
It's interesting you say that because I remember in warm-ups in Georgia, And I remember, and I even said it to Kyle, I'm like, man, I wish our place was like that in warm-ups. I mean, it was, when we were at Georgia, it was rocking 30 minutes before the game. And today I felt the exact same way. We were in warm-ups, they were playing videos, crowd was into it on the introductions of guys and stuff, and I look up, it's still, whatever, 25, 30 minutes till the game. So it was really cool to have that, and it's great for the players. They feel like it's a big-time game, you know, when the fans are there early like that. So, and then Kyle had us not do the walk, so, because he said there was rain coming and it didn't rain during the walk, but so maybe the fans are more excited to see us because they didn't see us on the walk. So maybe there's something to that. It's Kyle's idea.
We'll stay up top.
Lane, you mentioned the fans, they got their money's worth today. They actually got to storm the field twice. Have you ever been a part of something like that? And do they maybe need a video or a class as to how to storm the field in a big win like that?
Ooh. Might be 2 fines, Keith, because they actually stormed it twice. And that money goes to Georgia because we got LSU's money. I mean, I don't know. That ain't. They were excited. They were passionate. I wish they would have waited, but you know, sometimes I don't think they know that it was 4th down and the clock stops. So is what it is. But awesome environment. Just excited. I'm sure that this party in the SIP here will go on for definitely over 24 hours.
Coach, after an up and down start to the season, blowout Arkansas, blowout Georgia at home, do you feel like this team has found its identity and this is the type of football that they're playing to their true potential as you head into the end of the season and then the playoffs?
Yeah, but again, you got to do it every week. You know, every week things change, and we got to get healthy, get Trey back for this run here, and but I definitely think our identity is shown in being a dominant defense at times that just shuts people down, and a really good passing team. We were number 1 in the country in passing coming into the game. And again, that's the last 2.5, now 3.5 games, I think, without Trey.
Coach, congrats on the win up here in the back left. You know, you said you were in coaching mode, which makes sense when you're in the middle of the game. But, you know, I'm just wondering if you could contextualize not only how big this game is and this win is for this season, but what does this do for a program, especially in, you know, the changing times where a win like this, everyone sees it and rosters change every year and things like that?
Probably more than I'm thinking about it, like you said, in the moment. I mean, it's Georgia, man. Like I said, they were on the headset and they're like, well, maybe they're just going to run the ball. I'm like, Georgia ain't going out like that. Like we got to finish this thing. So it's why we're even kicked the field goal to go up 3 scores to make sure that we could knock them out of it. Because, you know, they've basically been the champs of college football for years, and you gotta be able to do that. So I probably haven't done whatever that big word was you said.
Those SAT words on college campus. Also, you're obviously Caden kicking today, just kind of outstanding. What can you say about him just nailing that shot from wherever it was on the field?
Yeah, the long one was huge earlier, and then the last ones were big too, you know, because analytics are kind of like, you're kind of torn there what to do. So just made sure, told the holder if it's a bad snap, go down, because we can't get this thing blocked and return for a touchdown. That's the only way we can lose right there. And he came through, and good holds too.
Lane, J.J. Pegues at one point came out of the game. He was injured, went to the locker room. He came back. He's run the football. We were actually waiting to see him throw the football. He's done everything for you. He's been a great player for you this year. Just curious as your thoughts on Pegues and what he means to the program.
Yeah, I think when he goes down, and he went down and he had to go get an x-ray, it just shows you how valuable he is, because he's a D tackle, and we're scrambling because he's in like 5 different personnels on offense that he's in. And then because he blocks as a tight end, he runs, he plays fullback. And so when we had to go rearrange all that when he was down, it makes you realize how valuable he is. And especially short yardage against Georgia, as you saw, like people struggle in short yardage against those guys. So that's why we turned to him when we had one early. I think he made 7 yards or something.
Lane, not a ton of time for this to sink in, but you kind of alluded to your dad a little earlier. Has he been on your mind at all this week, or I guess especially in these 30 minutes after the win?
Yeah, you know, I know he's watching, and He loved these type of games and big games, and I thought about him a lot this week. And I was like, man, if we win this thing, like he'll be so happy. Because he was always like last year after that, he's like, hey, we're gonna get this turned around. I remember him saying after the game, we're gonna get this thing turned around, and you're gonna beat Georgia next year. And it was really kind of, we beat him in his style. Great defense, dominant defensive performance, some kind of mushy offense and field goals, and so he's happy about that performance.
Last one, Chris.
Lane, you've been around great defenses. You coached against them. Any way to quantify as a coach when you have the kind of depth and talent you guys have up front now, how much easier it makes a pathway to playing for and competing for a championship? Because I know that's what you guys want to do.
Yeah, I mean that was part of the deal a year ago, and knowing what that looks like, knowing what 34 straight wins at USC, 26 straight wins at Alabama. The last 26 games, I think I was there. So I've seen what it looks like, and it doesn't look like just frontline premier defensive players. And you saw that today when guys go in, and here goes the next one, and here goes Zay Harris, goes in and makes an unbelievable play on the fumble. So that's what we've tried to build to get that. A little more challenging maybe here, and the new age where you got to go portal to do that. But then at the same time too, you got some high school players like Zay in there that stayed home and are reaping the benefits now.
All right, thanks. We'll have Jackson up next.
All right, thanks.